My name is Evan Shvetsov, and I am a grade 10 student at Oakville Trafalgar High School. And much like any other Canadian, I've also been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. I've noticed that the mental health of my peers has been declining. My friends would often say that they feel more anxious and stressed than they would during a regular school year. Therefore, I have decided to dedicate my Base of 2021 project to helping quantify the adverse effects of the pandemic on the mental health of adolescents.
The pandemic has had a tangible impact on the mental health of individuals all around the world, and there are studies to back this up. The Canadian Mental Health Association, or CMHA, put out a survey in December of 2020 to gauge the mental health of Canadians. One of the results of this study was that 1 in 10 Canadians, or 10%, self-reported having suicidal thoughts during the pandemic, rising from 2.5% in 2016. A result of the same survey was that 45% of women and 34% of men claimed that their mental health has worsened during the pandemic. Another study was conducted in China. A self-assessment was created and distributed to 3,613 individuals aged 7 to 18. 22% of the scores were indicative of clinically depressive symptoms. The study that I have conducted functioned similar to this. I created an anonymous online self-assessment based off of the Hamilton Anxiety Rating Scale, or HAMA, to gauge the levels of anxiety in adolescents. I hypothesized the levels of anxiety in adolescents would be above average due to the pandemic. I conducted my study by taking advantage of social media and posting the link to my self-assessment on my Instagram page. I wrote a brief explanation to what my study was about, and explicitly stated that it was anonymous so individuals would be less inclined to give inaccurate answers due to privacy concerns. I took the self-assessment down after 24 hours. Some significant results are outlined in my abstract. One that I would like to point out is that less than 10% of people taking the self-assessment reported feeling no anxiety in the moment while completing the assessment, indicating that anxious feelings are not just prevalent, they are extremely widespread. Here are the results for my self-assessment. Before I go over them, I would like to point out that I could not fit all of the individual results on here, so I have included a link to my spreadsheet where they are all listed. There is also a link to a copy of the self-assessment I used for this study. The way the self-assessment was scored was as follows. Each of the 14 questions that evaluate a symptom has 5 answers. The first answer states, "does not apply to me," and is rated 0. The second answer states, "applies to me in a small degree," and is rated 1. The third answer states, "applies to me in a medium degree," and is rated 2. And the fourth answer states, "applies to me in a significant degree," and is rated 3. The fifth and final answer states, "applies to me in an extreme degree," and is rated 4. The scores of each question are added up, and based on the sum, the test indicates the level of anxiety of the testee. The first category is scores 0 to 17, which is mild to no anxiety. The second category scores 18 to 24, which indicates moderate anxiety. The third is scores 25 to 30 and indicates severe anxiety, and scores over 31 indicate extreme anxiety. 69 of the 138 individuals who took my survey, or 50%, scored mild. 28 scores indicate moderate anxiety, 14 indicate severe anxiety, and 27 scores are extreme anxiety. The table at the top left shows score breakdowns by question. The average score was 19.33333, and the average testee age was 15. Results ranging from moderate to extreme anxiety made up 50% of the total 138 responses. Out of the total results, 19.5% of the scores are extreme anxiety. It is safe to say that anxiety is an issue that has taken a significant grip on the adolescent population of Canada, and that the average teen is likely suffering from abnormal levels of anxiety. However, the data gathered from the study has to be compared to previous and future data on the mental health of Canadian adolescents during the pandemic in order to determine concrete trends. While I was conducting the study, I was unable to find data specifically on the levels of anxiety in Canadian adolescents during the pandemic. The closest statistic I found was from Anxiety Disorders Ontario, where they say that 4% of youth aged 12 to 19 years were diagnosed with an anxiety disorder in 2009. I hope the data I have provided in the study will help quantify the levels of anxiety Canadian teens are experiencing, especially during these trying times.